Hi everyone and welcome to this episode of Culture of Paint. On tonight's show we're going to be taking a look at what's caught our eye over the last few weeks in the miniatures painting world. For our main topic we're going to try something new. We've got a few new cameras. We're going to do a bit of a hobby hangout session, have a chat about what projects we're working on, what we're planning for the rest of the year, and a bit of a natter with the chat as well. And then we'll close out the show as normal, taking a look at what the hashtag paint cultists have been up to. Culture of Paint is aimed at a mature audience and we might discuss adult themes and use explicit language. Now let's talk about paint. Okay, I think we are back with a million new cameras that you lot have no idea about yet anyway, and steam is coming out of Matt's head and computer screens and whatnot. But good evening everyone. I'm Henry. Joining me tonight are Matt and Rich. Hello chaps, how are you?
Good mate, how are you?
Yes, very well, thanks dude. Very well. Keen to get some good hobby chat on the go. So I will save that for the main topic. Chat's all in. Hi everyone. Bjorn, Mike, Matt, well that's Matt on the call, Kevin, Jay Dizzle, adult themes, very much so. Slanesh time. That'll be a great episode. Matt needs to learn a bit more about camera work before we can do that one though. So
no, we're not going that route.
Let's have a look at what's occurred over the last few weeks. Let's get some slides up.
So give me 1 second and just put the gallery on.
And in the chat, let us know about the slides, because I know we've had a couple of times where the slide hasn't come on for a couple of seconds, has it? And we've been chatting about an empty screen.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice one. So what have we got up first, Matt? My pick. Right.
Yes.
This person has been working on an Orc Army for 2-3 years. I think I've been aware of it. Maybe 2 years. I've been aware of it. Planned the big reveal last year at a show, an event, and obviously what's gone on's gone on. And this year went to the Facehammer AOS tournament, Facehammer GT, I think it's called, and took home Best Army. And this is a very good example of why they took home Best Army. This is their take on, I'm going to murder. It's take on Catacross. Maybe it's Cat Orc Cross. He's called it something clever with Orc in the title, and it sounds like Catacross. But the level of conversion that this dude's doing throughout the army, like this isn't necessarily that much more converted than anything else in the army. It's absolutely insane. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's one of my favourite Orc things I've ever seen, and it's making me really keen to try and get to an event to see it. The fact that this is the gaming army is madness. But yeah, every little bit on here is a rip off of Catacross's base. So he's got all his advisors. They're all the correct ones. Just well, this is right up my street. This sort of thing. And I think, did I send you a picture of the banner, Matt?
Yeah, I think the banner's in there some. I haven't got a close up. I got the
banners. Obviously got various things that this Orc warlord has destroyed, and I believe after the recent event that he went to, I think he's added to it as well to reflect like stuff he fought and things like that, which is just that's top tier level of hobby that. But yeah. So check him out. I follow him on Twitter, but he's on Instagram as well, at Slow Painter Loz. Look at that. Talk off. Oh, it's so good. So good.
very fitting for October coming up.
Of course, yeah. Well, you might as well have a quick chat about that now you've brought it up. So go on, pinpoint what you're doing on the compendium.
So paint an orc, tag me in it, and at the end of October I'm going to pick three orcs, fantasy, sci-fi and an illustration, and 3 of you will get a £25 gift voucher for G-dubs each. So all the info's on the post in the compendium, but yeah, Doesn't have to be G-dubs. Can be anything.
Just got to be orcs. It's got to be.
Just
It doesn't even have to be greenskins. It's just got to be orcs, right?
Greenish skins.
Well, what other famous is one then? What other famous sort of what color are they in Warcraft? Are they blue in that, or are they green in that?
Orcs?
Can't remember. Yeah, it's been a long time since I played it.
Blue war paint.
Traditionally green,
Right.
but then they also have like more skin-colored ones than anything else as well.
Yeah. What other? So Lord of the Rings orcs, they're sort of more like brown and sort of
Brown and grey
color. Yeah, grey. Yeah, nice. Can't think of any other really famous. I read a brilliant book when I don't know. I think I found it in a pub, early 20s. Book just called Orcs. It's by Stan Nichols. It's really, really cool. Like having only really come up at Orcs from either Tolkien or G-dub, which is certainly back then was very derivative, sort of, of Tolkien stuff. It was really cool to sort of see them cast not necessarily as the bad guys, have them got some heroic elements to them.
I think I've read that book.
Really cool. I was trying to remember it now. There's some sort of spice in it. It's not June.
Yeah.
There's like some kind of trippy powder that's really valuable.
Yeah, they're more like coherent, aren't they? And they're not like just
they're just
idiots. They're just like they just happen to be orcs.
Yeah, they're just quite martial and all of that, but no real different to a human sensibilities in most ideas. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. There's some Cult of Paint only fans incoming. I don't think so, Joe Dizzle. Bjorn saying that they're originally brown, they turn green afterwards. Nice. Hi Baz, nice to see you in the chat. But sorry, that derailed that a little bit. But that's kind of what tonight's show is going to be like. I think just a bit of general hobby chat as we try out some new cameras and stuff. No, none of that. Right, what's up next? What's the next side? But yeah, amazing. Go and follow that person. It's incredible. Oh wow.
So this was my pick. Yeah, it's just wicked. I love a bit of Nurgle, and like the green stuff work on there is just great. Like it's not a huge amount, but it really adds to it. And you know, there's a Abaddon kit. I don't know where that knife thing's from. Like there's a Centurion stuff in there. Yeah, it's a hodgepodge of all the kits. But yeah,
that's a lot.
Really wicked.
Insane,
it's massive.
Yeah,
it's going to be big. It's like half of that stuff is Abaddon, I think.
Yeah.
So
you reckon?
The arm definitely is, and I think the leg is.
Yeah, the arm is the middle of the torso's from Typhus.
Yeah.
Right. I think the belly plate might be from an AOS Varangard model, maybe off the horse. Like the horse is, or a chariot. Like it's a comparison type thing. That's very cool. Does this person tend to paint up their conversions, or are they more of a model?
There are painted ones on there, but there are more grey plastic than paint sometimes. But to be honest, it's
a lot of people's hobby, right? Is that converting kit bashing?
I think he's more into that than the painting, but he has so much stuff on there, like of just insane conversions. It's wicked.
Nice.
Very cool pick.
Yeah, that is a great pick. These will all be in the description. In fact, I think they already are in the description. If you're watching it back, they all will be, all these accounts. So go and check them out. Have we got some of Andy's picks as well, Matt?
No picks from Andy this week.
Cool, that's fine. No worries. I was just double checking.
Yep.
Before I don't talk about something. Yeah, wicked.
So next up is
me. Of course, it's the Space Marine.
I was going to say it's Space Marine. It's a great thingy name as well.
Yeah. So there's a few of these actually. He's done a kill team for it, and I mean everyone knows I love a Space Marine. I do like a Chaos Space Marine, but these are probably my favorite Chaos Space Marines I've seen because I like the Chaos Space Marine kit. It's an incredible kit, but it just never quite. I never saw anything that I would like to do myself with it that I've seen anyone do. But this I really like, and I love metallics. I love Chaos Space Marines. I love the fact he used a metallic base, but then he's gone into real detail, like with the faces and around the mouthpiece and stuff. He's really high quality, and I really like the idea of Kill Team. It's not something I've played yet, but the theory behind that you can do these little really themed war bands that really scratch an itch, I think is something really special. And I think it's something that I would definitely be up for doing. As we all know, I butterfly a little bit. So rather than me butterflying, say I'm going to do an army and then jacking it in after 2 weeks, if I manage to get a kill team done, it's something playable, and that's the goal for me at the moment. So I saw this and I just thought it's so clean and just really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good example, isn't it? Like you're saying, is metallics. You get a very decent result for less work than you do with a flat scheme. But
yeah,
it's nice to see that person's gone, right, I've sort of saved a bit of time here. I'll put that time I've saved into doing the face,
exactly,
and the cloth and things like that. And that's that's really, really cool. I also quite like how he's giving the camera a proper stare, right? It's like he's in the middle of the battle. It's like, no, it's
super blingy.
It's getting packed. It's not.
And if you pick that up and look at it, obviously that's going to look amazing as it does from this angle. But also, a couple of feet away on a board, it's going to stand out. It'll be visible.
Yeah.
This is.
I like. Sorry, Matt. Go on.
I was just say this is Martin, isn't it?
Yes.
The guy's name? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. Very epic.
Yeah, it's nice.
Great painter.
The new kill teams definitely, I think, got a lot of people quite excited. And one of the things I think's been a change for the better is that the kill team is largely one troop type. So whereas in the past it was, a tactical marine, a scout. I don't know if there was a Terminator in there, but you know what I'm getting at, which in theory sounds really cool, but also meant that if you wanted to do it, you had to go and either go on a bits hunt or buy 5 boxes and not use 75% of them. Like, I do really like the idea of it being, okay, I'm going to buy the Chaos Marine power armored Chaos Marine box and I can build a kill team out of it.
I like that as well. I also like the fact that there's a lot more. I mean, you get a lot of options with Space Marines, but I like the fact that you don't get many of them. So, like, if you take guards, for instance, or the Orc commandos, you can get like 12 of them. Whereas Plague Marines, if you take Plague Marines, you can get 4.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit more balanced around the fact that Space Marines are supposed to be these epic, insanely powerful superhumans. Bit more cinematic, right, and all that. You would have 4 dudes against 10.
I'm going to be very intrigued as to where they take it. Obviously, we've seen the next couple of kits coming for it. One of them is unique. The Tau, I assume, is a Tau unit that already exists that we just haven't got newer models for. Is it? Was it?
Yeah. So we've got newish models, but they're just reposed Fire Warriors, I believe.
This shows our ignorance on Tau, but they're just little.
Where's Andy
space cow things? Yeah, he does know about this one. But yeah, I'm quite excited. Especially if the Krieg and the commandos are anything to go by. I'm got good feeling about it.
Come on, striking scorpions! Come on, striking scorpions!
Oh, you reckon? Maybe.
I'd love all Rangers. God, if it was Rangers.
I'd just say Rangers is a safe bet, right? I'd have a fire on that. Yeah, nice, cool picks. Guy's good with metallics as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
he really is. Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
I mean, it's just super shiny.
Yeah,
and really smooth.
I like the effort in with the silvers. He's not just done it flat silver and put a wash on it. He's gone back in and he could have been quicker. But I like the fact that I like people who take a scheme and then maybe that would normally historically be really quick and spend a bit of time. That's why I like clears so much, because like clears you can do models super fast, but it's actually really fun to do the clears and then actually spend a bit of time on them because you get some great results.
For sure. Nice one. What about you, Matt? What's your
mine was the Nurgle.
Oh gosh, of course it was. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit tired. So I might go and have to have coffee in a minute. So yeah, nudge me if I zone out.
We do have one more.
What we got?
This is me too. This I wanted to put this in because I was being greedy this week because I saw some lots of stuff. Just loved it.
Wow.
Super fun, thematic. I love fantasy goblins and orcs, especially cartoony ones.
Yeah.
And I just love this. It's another fantastic model that looks absolutely minute, but yeah, just thought it was great.
It's actually 54 mil.
I was going to
scale.
say, is it 54 mil? Yeah, look
Yeah.
at the cork. Yeah,
Wow.
nice. Pick one of them up, add it into the Darguard stuff. There you go. I haven't got to bother making goblins now. Nice one. Cross that one off the list. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Has this sculptor done a lot before?
Yeah, I had a look on his store. He has so much cool stuff. I was just like, oh, I want that. I want that. I want that.
Nice.
Really quality stuff.
A fun little rabbit hole then.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Nice one. Did we have a meme this week?
No, we didn't get around to a meme this week.
Unbelievable, considering that we have possibly just been through the greatest meme creation in the entire Games Workshop.
I can pull a meme up if you want.
Which is I'm sure the chat, I'm sure those listening know who we're talking about. If you've been on any form of social media in the last couple of weeks since the Black Templars release or the preview, you will not have been able to avoid probably the greatest gift Games Workshop could have given to the savage thugs that are the Warhammer meme.
What
are we calling him? Are we calling him the wiping guy?
I've heard quite a few names. Some of them not really repeatable. But yeah, Buffman. I quite like Buffman.
Buffman's a good one.
That's probably one of the kinder ones.
I think we need a bit of support with this, with the meme of the week. So if any of the listeners find any good ones, do send them to us, because we've not been very on point with the memes of the week for the last few weeks. So
I was so against it from the start, this meme nonsense on this, but actually I do quite enjoy seeing them. When they're going on. Let's have a look what the chat's going on. What's James done? He's broken what? Ooh. So it's taken a bit of a shot. Essentially destroyed his shoulder. So he's planning his new hobby room. People's thoughts on gaming chairs for painting. Right. So you could be a secret lab wanker, like you suggested in the chat there. This is basically the same thing. I don't know for sure, but I assume a lot of these chairs are just OEM things that get rebranded with different stuff on.
Pretty much.
But I bought this lockdown when we had to start YouTube and all the rest of it, and I knew I'd be sitting for a much longer time. And it's not cheap, but at the end of the day, if I've been sat in it, I still feel all right. So I like these Secret Lab Titan thingy, whatever they're called. They do seem pretty good, especially I think if you were a larger person, you'd probably find them really, really comfy. But I just thought, what's that? There's that really famous ergonomic office chair. That's the one I wish I got, but
it's quite expensive, that one.
It is really expensive, yeah. And this one's covered in paint, and I think I'd be a bit more upset if that the name's completely gone from my mind now. But yeah, if that had if I got paint all over that one, I might be a little bit more more upset.
I've been in the same hobby chair for about a decade. It's my old PC chair, and it's like there's half the leather's gone off it. There's where my legs spread. There's just constant. It's just covered in paint. There's paint everywhere. It's dusty. It's gross, but I will never get rid of it.
Your back must love you.
I was going to say, is that sentimental, or is it because you still play rugby and therefore don't have any feeling below the neck most days anyway?
That is one big thing, but it's the perfect height. Every other chair I found is just way too high up. I like to sit quite low on the desk because I'm quite tall, and I rest my arms on the desk when I paint, so it's the perfect height.
Yeah, it does make a big difference. Height,
that I use.
Yeah,
definitely.
I did notice that, to be fair. Yeah, being on the taller side as well, like propping the desks up and stuff. Someone's just said, Jadis has just said in the chat that they think spend the money on a proper office chair, they're better than gaming chairs. I think you're probably right. In fact, I think you're almost certainly right with that. But that's it, Herman Miller. Thanks, James. That's the one you want. There was something kind of fun about getting these big Secret Lab wanker chairs. So I don't mind it. And I got this one in some horrible scheme, so it was like 50 quid cheaper than all the others because it's got a bit of faux suede down the side of it. There's some pretty atrocious ones out there. I'm surprised GW haven't done a collab Because I know a few of the other, like there's
Do you imagine the cost?
I don't know, like there's a what's the Fallout? That chair's about the same price as all the other ones, and it's cheaper now because they've obviously got a surplus of them. But yeah, I could see like a Space Marine chair and a whatever. Sit here in my Space Marine leggings and my Space Marine football jersey, pajamas.
Space Marine lunchbox.
Space Marine, yeah. Well, I mean, I paint enough of them, mate. I mean, I get a bit sick of that when I'm doing a 20-man tactical squad. Paint far too many Space Marine lunchboxes. Right, have you managed to get a picture, Matt?
No, it's a bit of a faff to get it.
Never mind. Well, we all know what we're on about, and that's the almighty polishing servitor from Helbrecht, which I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of. What I hope we see is people doing some models of some of those memes. Then I'd be really impressed. Right, are we going to have a chat about paint cultists now, Matt, before we shift on to the main thing? So, guys, one of the things we're doing with the show tonight is we've had a chat. I'm sure it's not escaped your notice that there's been a few weeks break since the last show. We've got various Kickstarters going out at the moment and going back to jobs which have previously been work from home and stuff. So things have got on top of us a little bit. But we really want to get back to that fortnightly schedule with the show. And one of the ways we're thinking of doing this is having every other show be a hobby hangout show, so much like tonight's will be. And then the opposite every other week would be more of our scripted shows with the interviews, the topics, that type of thing. But we want to make sure on all the shows that we still do what we've seen and sort of the paint cultist stuff, because the paint cultist hashtag it's growing and growing and growing. And again, every time I'm going on there to pick some pictures to chuck up, there's just so many more, and the variety as ever is brilliant. So before we sort of go off and see if these cameras don't work and you can see what we're playing around with and having a chat about, I thought we'd go through the paint cultist beforehand. So again, Matt hasn't really seen these other than having to chuck the slides up, and Rich doesn't know the ones I've picked. But yeah, go and check it out on social media if you want to. And if you want us to take a look at your work or share it with other people that are watching the show and therefore probably paint nerds as well, then use that hashtag. Just so you know, I won't ever put up work in progress pictures. That's not because I don't think they're great. I'd rather put up the finished model. Okay, so let's have a look.
First up.
Cool.
I'm like this close to going down a Lord of the Rings rabbit hole. Yeah.
I said you were mental for that, and then I was in Warhammer World the other day, and I saw the cabinet that had all the orcs and
with
goblins,
all of the things in there.
Actually, the goblins are awesome. But the Probamorial ones, the really little ones with the spiky armor, I was like, they're great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
And this, it's just a lovely interpretation of one of our hobbits.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I honestly think I would come out of that project a much better painter.
Yeah.
Because they're tiny for starters.
Yeah.
And there's just so many lovely textures and colours you can play with. And you've got all that wonderful references, be it the films, be it the different illustrators that have worked on the books over the years. I've got an amazing old, I think it's from the 70s or 80s, probably the 80s. So it's a Tolkien bestiary, and it's got tons of these guys that are now sort of really renowned fantasy artists, but there's some things in there from them. I think Blanche is in there. Who else is there from the G-Dub crowd? Quite a few anyway, but it's a cracking book if you can ever find it. But yeah, I just thought Ankel had done a lovely job on this guy.
Yeah, it's great. It's the Lord of the Rings stuff with the new Lord of the Rings TV show coming out, I think next year or whatever it is.
Of course.
I'm wondering whether they will then pair with GW again to maybe do some more models for it. Would be pretty cool. And I think when I watch that, I will then be like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do it, and then start a Goblin Army.
Well, GW did renew their license for the miniatures, so
yeah,
I assume
that fills me with joy.
Bjorn, Hobbit hole. That's very witty. I wish I'd noticed that comment sooner, but I will give it credence. Well, yeah, fall down a Lord of the Rings Hobbit hole. It's on the cards. Nice. It's on the cards. Right, what's up next, Matt?
Oh, cool.
So I'm not, again, my nerd cred is pretty poor, but I think this is X-Men.
Yeah, it's
It
Rogue.
is Rogue.
Right. There just seems to be tons of Marvel. Oh, please tell me X-Men's Marvel.
It is.
It
Yeah,
is.
right. There seems to be tons of Marvel stuff like around at the moment. But this, it's obviously the model's nicely painted, but the background is so striking. Like, what a brilliant way to present like your paint job.
Yeah.
Just it's always a challenge, isn't it, when you finish a model or something and you want to share it, and generally you're going to have to use a photo to do that. And it's nothing bums me out more than when I can't get the photo to get across the model. You know, even if it's not a perfect photo of the model, if I can get the photo where it gets across what I've tried to do on the model, that's all it needs to do, right? But this is just, it's just brilliant.
Like from front on, this isn't like a bad compliment. It's flat, like you can see. It's like a painting. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Really well executed. Great idea. Great colours.
Yeah, love that.
Great work. Attila. Great work, Attila.
Next up, I think I picked quite a few this week, so we're gonna rattle through
12.
This is from Joshua Lai, great account to follow. One, picked it because I just think the sisters models are absolutely brilliant. And secondly, I picked it because he mentioned he'd followed one of the tutorials for the armor, and I was like, oh, cool. It's always nice to see, like, when you fire a tutorial up, it's always nice to see people like take it and then probably spend a bit more time on it and make it look a bit nicer. But this, for me, I think is the Imagifier. Is that what it's called? Anyway, the battle standard bearer.
BSB.
When we saw that new sisters release, gosh, it must be what, 2.5 years ago, something like that.
At least, yeah.
This was one of those ones from it where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like they're going all in. They're not just giving us, battle sisters. Yeah. But yeah, just love it. Like a whole army like this would look superb. So I hope
amazing.
He finishes it. And I must get around to doing that model. But yeah, good work. What's that next, Sue? This one, I've no idea why it's in here, in the sense of it's a Tau drone, right? There's nothing particularly, but obviously when I'm looking through these paint cultist pictures, I'm picking the ones that jump out to me to do on the slide. I do look at all of them, and I guess this is other than the fact it's nicely painted. Obviously, it's a great example of the right colours just pop, don't they? Like you stick it on the table. You see what it's going to draw people's eye. So yeah, I know bugger all about Tau, but I know this is a drone and it looks like it's got a gun on it. So
yeah, I think it's one of the drones from one of the characters, the lady with the forearm suit.
Oh, Shadow Sun.
I think it's one of her drones.
Yeah, nice.
I love the Tau drones.
Nice.
They're cool.
I think it's a great range, Tau. It really is. It's just it came out when I was out of the hobby, so I've got zero nostalgia for it. I've got I'm not really other than sort of knowing
the Tau suits. Just don't like the Tau Fire Warriors, unfortunately.
But it's nice work.
Nice.
Yes, Joshua is very talented, Bjorn. I agree. It's a great account to follow. Some strategy battle, Middle Earth strategy battle fans in the chat there. Very nice. I was talking to Dan from the Out of the Frying Pan podcast, which is a Middle Earth strategy battle game thing, the other week at a Heresy event, and he was extolling the virtues of it. Sort of, come on in. The water is fine. I'm tempted. I'm very tempted. Right, we'll go next, Matt.
There we go.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a kit that's getting painted soon. It's built, but it needs to get painted soon. Just
if Thomas wants to just send those to me, then that would be swell, because that's exactly how many of them I want, and he's done a great job of them. So
it's that. It's there's photos where they're like the before and after type ones, and this is that sort of the before one, which was the kit we had for 15 years or whatever it was, 20 years.
Yeah.
And this was the new one. I mean, I've gone on the show before about just how good I think that undead release was. And I was listening to a Warhammer Fantasy podcast today, actually, Old World Lives, and they were chatting about Prague, which is a city in Kislev, and I've long had this idea of wanting to do. There's like a tiny bit of snippet of lore about there being vampires in Prague and stuff. And ages ago, me and a hobby group had sort of talked about, maybe we'll do Mordheim, but we'll set it in Prague, and it will be more like vampire.
Nice.
The walls are all like half made out of people because of chaos and all the rest of it. It's really grim.
Nice.
And then obviously since this new undead release has come out, there's quite a few. Not these ones necessarily, but there's quite a few of them have got quite a sort of Slavic vibe to them, and I was like, that could work really well for a bit of Pragueheim. So yeah, might be revisiting that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just spot on job, isn't it? This one.
Yeah.
And 2
Fantastic
flags,
paint job.
so it must be a really good unit to have 2 flags in it.
Which
More
kit's
flags the
this?
better, I say.
This is the Blood
Blood
Knight,
Knight.
the new Blood Knight.
Ah,
kit.
right.
Yeah.
I want to pinch one of
it's
those
amazing.
flags for another thing.
I'll send you
I
my
just
one,
want-
mate. I've not used the flag, so you can.
I
you
just
can
want
have the flag.
I want an army of them because it's one of the things you can take. So
Yeah.
I play vampires in AOS, and they're such a fun army to play. I just want an entire army of Blood Knights because it is actually doable. Have them steaming across the board at somebody just would be epic.
They were fun to build. Like they weren't like easy to build, but they were a fun kit to build. Quite painful, but yeah, definitely good fun. Right, I think there's a couple more, isn't there, Matt?
Yeah, there's quite a few more.
Yeah, Omniman.
Omniman.
So talk to me again. I'm ignorant, but it was a cool another superhero thing, and I thought I better show this.
Yeah, Omniman is a comic book that they've turned into an Amazon Prime show. It's like a superhero style origin story thing, based around like a young chap whose dad is a superhero, and he finds out that he has superpowers.
Nice.
But it is brutal as fuck.
Is it a bit like The Boys? Is it a bit sort of like?
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very similar
Nice.
vein as The Boys. It's savage, but it's a really, really good, really worth watching though. And this is Omniman, and it's a really good incarnation of him.
His mustache obviously giving him the majority of his powers.
Yes.
Is Omniman played by Tom Selleck, or?
No, he's not. It's the guy who what's his name? That's going to annoy me now. He plays J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man.
No idea. Right, next slide, Matt. Not a sausage, but it's a cool model. It's really nicely painted. I just thought I'd chuck in because, as I said, it's nice to see. There's a real variety of stuff on this hashtag, and GW are pumping out kits, like absolutely hammering them out. And I always forget that there was this lovely little lizard drop over the last sort of year or two where they got this cool, enormous scenery piece, and then obviously the Croak model.
And a great warband as well.
So, and the little Underworlds thing. And I think this Ken's used, I don't know, but I think those vines are added. I don't think they're part, maybe they are part of the kit. Either way, They look really cool. I know they do a vines kit, don't they? That's like that plastic that you can hair dryer in it. It's got a bit of flex to it. But yeah, really nice.
To see a bit of scenery on there as well. We haven't seen a lot of scenery.
Yeah, well,
nice to see a bit of it.
Probably chat about that a bit in the hobby section. But I'm weighing up a handful of different projects, and one of them is scenery. And in fact, I just got a box today from a mate of mine of some more old world village houses and towers to paint. So yeah, but yeah, nice one, Ken. I think it's wicked.
So next.
Nice.
This is in because obviously it's Titanicus, and I'm massively biased.
Yeah.
No.
Jared's a good dude as well. His paintings really come on, but he's painted up just a casual, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 engines recently, in Legio Presagius, I want to say. Pretty sure it is. But yeah, if you're remotely on the fence about whether you should buy and paint a Titanicus Warlord, do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a ton of fun as a hobby project. The painting, I'm not going to lie, I've said it before, I didn't massively enjoy a lot of the painting on my Titans, but I love having painted Titans. Like, on the shelf, I just love them.
It's on my to-do list is Titanicus, and it's one of the things that I'm kind of waiting for people in my immediate hobby group to get on the bandwagon, because it's definitely something I want to play more than anything. But the Reaver that I painted is one of the most enjoyable models I've ever painted.
And you smashed that out in like a couple of days, didn't you?
Yeah, a few days. It was proper, like, it reminded me of like back when we used to do the heresy stuff back in the day, like loads of masking, oils, lots of airbrushing, and then like detail work, and it was just a joy. I love painting walkers anyway. They're my favorite thing to paint, but also altering the way that you paint, because you're actively painting it in a different scale. And I never do anything a different scale other than your normal 40k or AOS sort of size. So that was a really fun challenge, and just making things try and look a little smaller.
Yeah, it is.
Great.
It's a really we helped host a heresy event a couple of weekends ago with the greetings from the Warp guys, and there was a Titanicus event there. I think there was maybe eight players. I was there, and on the first day, I didn't see the second day, but on the first day, the standard of painting was absolutely mad.
Nice.
You know, all of them were fantastic, and I would say 4 or 5 of them would walk best army in a lot of, if that quality was transposed to something else, you know, they'd absolutely walk it. I think for me, like, having been at a number of events now over the years, and we've been asked to judge various best armies and models and so on, I think for me the highest level of hobby, or perhaps the most consistently high level of hobby I've noticed, has been in Titanicus and Age of Sigmar. I think Heresy is generally very, very good standard as well.
Yeah.
But I would say those two have really stood out to me over the last 2 years. Just that, well, a bit before, because if we ignore what's gone on the last 18 months or so. There's something about, I don't know whether it's because the models are really new and therefore, you know, people are excited to paint them. I don't know whether it's just that those game systems and the events I've been at for those game systems encourage sort of an all-in approach to the hobby or whatnot, but it blew my mind, the event. Like, it really did. Like, just and the quality of the tables was fantastic, and it was just like, this is how you get someone into a game. Like, if you show them this, they're all in straight away. Like, you know, give me some of that action. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's why it's in here, and obviously it looks really good. But
it does. Well,
paint more Titans. All right, is there one more, Matt, or are we done?
There's 2 more.
2 more. Here we are.
Oh, where's Andy? Honestly,
I know this is partly
to talk about purple elves.
Yeah, I felt guilty about sort of being selfish with some picks. So I thought I'll chuck an elf in for Andy. But I also thought, what a beautiful palette this person has used on this. It's just right for the model, isn't it? In my opinion. I suppose it's sort of a bit like cherry blossom colours, maybe. I don't know what it is. It's the favourite palette I've seen used for this mini.
Yeah, very cool. I like the link between like the colours that are used for the flowers on the bottom, links with like the gems and the handles of the blades and stuff like that. Links it all really well.
Absolutely. I imagine if the rest of the army's done like this, I imagine it looks absolutely cracking on the board. Like, really, again, it's that. This is AOS. This is Elves in AOS. And you'd look at it and you go, okay, I get it. Right, I get it. I mean, obviously you get it because there's a bloody great cow mountain and, you know, flying fox and stuff. But color palette is so important, I think, for getting that impact with your army and getting the vibe across. What you're going for. 100%. This person, I think, is just absolutely nailed it. So very nice. Right, final one then, Matt. Hey, proper old school. And they strung the bow. So it's an old Wood Elf Waywatcher. But actually, no, it might even be a Scout. I think it's a Scout or the Scout Champion from 5th edition Wood Elves, which was my last army before I went on sabbatical, basically. There's, again, talking about possible upcoming projects. I'm like, I do really fancy a sort of Oh, this to me is old hammer, if that makes sense. It might not be old hammer for some, but for me, like 4th, 5th edition is mine, and it's before that big aesthetic change happened. And yeah, Wood Elves is just, I mean, dude, stripy trousers, loads of colours,
that clump foliage.
Oh, it's just just love it. Yeah, the clump foliage trees, and then some coin to show how big it is.
It's not big, is it?
No. But just little things. Oh, I love it. Like stringing the bow. It's just, really tickled me, this one. And again, it's a nice paint job. So,
cool.
and it looks like the person's just done it as a, happy little project. It's not like it's been done for gaming or anything. I've got a real hankering to paint some stripy trousers, It's gonna, stripy. Let's go on the notepad.
Has to be a dwarf then.
Do a Titan with stripy trousers.
Now you're talking, Rich. You're an ideas man. I like it. I can work with that. Right. So before we get derailed with that nattering, how does painting one of these differ from a Space Marine, for instance? Do you, Adam, in the chat, were you referring to the Titan? I know there's a delay, so I'll keep an eye on the chat for the reply on that. So if you want to get your work featured, say use that hashtag Paint Cultist thing. I always look at all of them. So I'll pick a good handful of them to show on each show. If you ever want to get in touch with us to promote a subject that you'd like us to talk about, or feedback or anything like that, we're on all the usual platforms. We're not hard to get in touch with. So by all means, do get in touch with us. We want to know what you guys would like to see and hear from us. So let's give a go at this, the hobby project idea. So we've got a bunch more cameras. We've got some cameras set up on our desks. And I thought we would just flick through and have a bit of a natter. We're getting towards the last quarter of the year now. Myself, I'm coming towards the end of 2 projects that I've done, my Titanicus project and my Cruel Boys for AOS. I've got some significant life changes coming up personally. So I want to try and plan out what I'm going to be doing maybe for the next 3 to 6 months, allowing room for the new shinies. But, I one of the things I've, I'm quite, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily proud of any of my paint jobs from the last 18 months, but I am really proud of the amount of stuff I've got painted in the last 18 months. It was wicked to have my first ever game of Age of Sigmar with a fully painted army against a fantastic bloke, Ben, from the Two Piece podcast, against a fantastic painted army up at Warhammer World. I mean, it couldn't have been a better introduction, and that was, part of that was just slogging through and getting it done. So it's definitely changed that. But so to that end, I want to try and pick a few projects and go, right, this is getting finished. This is something I want to get finished within a little time frame. So I thought I'd have a little sort of chat about those, and I thought I'd see what you were both up to as well. And Matt, I'm going to throw you under the bus straight away.
Oh no!
Because I want you to talk about this October thing a little bit more, because you're going to do some orcs for it, right?
Yeah. So I'll bring up my hobby camera.
This is where everything will go wrong. The entire stream will die, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I can do this. There we go.
Well, I can see it.
There we go. You can see.
I can see it.
Both of them. So, October. It's the month of the orc, and so what was it? December 2019. I was like, I want to do a grot tank for GD 2020. Obviously, GD 2020 didn't happen, but I did build the grot tank. Let's go that way. Let's bring some light on it. There we go.
That's all right. I think our aim with these cameras on our work desk is not to try and sort of show you perfect visuals. We'll make sure to sling up pictures when Matt does finish this. So please do all badger him about it.
And so I want to do an October sort of campaign to try and push myself to finish it this month, which I think is probably a bit ambitious. And what better way than to put it on the world to see and to hold me accountable?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I picked up that Orc mech gun literally just for the grots.
Yeah.
Because
do you
it
remember?
needs...
Was it Forge World did at one time? You could get about 20 odd grot orderlies, couldn't you?
Could you?
From the because they did them with all the different mech guns Forge World did and the different Orc vehicles. There was an incredible range at one time. Most of it's gone now, I think. And when it went, obviously it's quite sad. But then they did the last couple of plastic Orc releases have had, like Matt's just shown there, they've had some brilliant little grot crew models, whether they've been attached to a character or whether they've been like the mech gun kit is for bits, which I think is all Orc players care about, right? Is amazing. Like it's I assume that's still how Orc players work, is you just buy all the kits, open the boxes, and then just build things.
Yeah, throw away the instructions.
Yeah, my whole thing with Orcs was like I would basically compile all the models from other armies that I'd started and not finished, just glue on some random Orc bits and go, cool, it belongs to the Orcs now.
Right, so I'm going to jump in now then, because speaking of like using things that leftovers from other projects, where are we? It's going to be horribly wobbly because I've stuck this to a lamp. It's just going to move everywhere. But tough shit. What you get over tonight. I've got a lot of heresy stuff left over from various heresy projects. And I've wanted to do Badab. The Badab Wars for absolutely ages. And a group keen to do it. And my plan is to use my sort of leftover Marines from my other heresy projects, and I can use them for to get some Astral Claws done for Badab. But the reason I'm keen to do Astral Claws is there's a list where you can basically, the majority of the list is going to be militia humans, and obviously the new Krieg models come out. They're amazing. So one of the things I've been playing around with is just having a look at sort of how the scales work with things like that. It's pretty nice, eh? And the reason I've been building these dudes, obviously because this isn't a heresy dude, is I will be doing a series of videos on YouTube, just like I've been doing their heresy recipe series. I'm doing a series of free videos on there for all of the Badab War chapters, and I think I'm going to use these Space Marine Heroes Terminators for it, because to do the Tyrant's Legion list, which is what these guys are for, you need very few Marines. They basically just stand there in the background and shoot these guys in the back of the head if they don't do what they should be doing. So yeah, that's me jumping and sort of looking for a way to use up, you know, some old bits and bobs from old kits. Like I never liked in Heresy mixing armor marks particularly. I just like the visuals of one armor mark. But one of the things I loved, and I'm sure a lot of people loved about Badab when we first saw the amazing all the amazing color plates and things from it, is you've got, it's quite conveniently to hand as well, not that this is all I look at between work, but you get all these amazing color plates with, and they've just sort of mixed all the armor marks up on them. And it was, it's just that, you know, that's how that was me getting back into it all. You know, Badab was the way in, as it were, and stuff like that. So it's it's going to be a really nice way to use up the odds and sods from that heresy project before starting sort of new heresy project for new heresy kind of thing. So yeah, that was me. That's me steamrolling in on your project there. But back to you, Matt, about October. So just the one grot tank?
So just the one grot tank. So let me bring it back up again. So it will be, I mean, it's pretty big. So I don't know where they're keeping all the ammo for these, because this is a demolisher cannon from a Vindicator. This is part of the, you know, that stubby Baneblade cannon.
Yeah.
It's got 2 Bow Predator flamers on it. And
more Dakka.
Yeah, it's just Dakka everywhere. I actually think I had more fun putting this together than I will paint it.
Yeah, I can see that.
all the plasticard, because it's like pretty much scratch built from plasticard, other than the odd sort of GW bit thrown on. Some tin foil on it as well. You know, you should get those green stuff rollers for like tubes.
Yeah.
You put a bit of tin foil in it and like press it, and it makes like corrugated roofing type stuff. So I've got sort of corrugated roofing, all the detailing up there, and just tons of pipes, just Dakar. It's all you need.
Nice.
That's nice. And because it's not a grot tank you're doing, in the sense of it's not the Forge World grot tanks, right? This is a
this is much bigger.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot bigger, isn't it?
But it's the plasticard pictures are on my Instagram account, so you can see all like the detailing, and I did all the tracks, like each track link, so that was painful.
I bet.
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah, good work, mate.
It's fun.
Good work. So, what are you thinking, Rich? Do you reckon you'll get any orcs done then for October? Kind of rude not to.
I know, yeah. I mean, I've been playing some more AOS lately, so I'm playing with my own dead because it's quite a quick army to paint. But there is a bunch of stuff that I want to add to my AOS Iron Jaws army.
There you go.
The new book's come out. The new War Clans book has come out, which I'm really excited about. I got that, so I've been looking at that. You know, there's that option of like too much choice. So I looked at it, and I can basically take whatever the fuck I want in an army now. I'm now like, oh god, like there's a lot of options here, and I've been painting them to somewhat of a higher standard than I would normally suggest for an army.
Options are terrible.
Options are terrible.
Just ignore it. Ignore them. Stick to Iron Jaws, dude. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah. So at the moment, I am making. I suppose it is still October. I'm making a rogue idol.
There we go.
So I'm scratch building a rogue idol from bark.
Cool.
At the moment. Actually, I will just lean over and grab it. Hold on.
Matt, someone in the chat, Bjorn's saying in the chat, if we can we get a close up of your roofing work?
Chucking in the Instagram images, you'd be able to see them.
I've just noticed as well in the chat saying there was a bit of audio issue when I switched to my
I sorted that
table cam. So sorry about that, guys. That's kind of what I said this episode might be. That's the worst thing that happens.
My camera a bit, and,
here we go. Here's where it will really go. Go to shit.
So this is my rogue idol that I'm making. Can we see that?
Should be able to see it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So that's my rogue idol I'm making just from cork. So cork bark, and then the faceplate is the base of a orc chariot that I've drilled holes in and made teeth for and stuff. So
nice.
That's
a great idea, dude.
And also, it's a 400 and something point model that'll bump up my Iron Jaws quite nicely.
Yeah. Another Ben Chambers very kindly lent me a Mega Gargan, which is those massive giants that are in Age of Sigmar to play with in that game.
You just pop it back on the screen, Rich, just because there was a bit of a video issue at that point.
Okay, hold on. I'm putting it under my video camera.
Bjorn saying, can you have Troggoths in it? Yes, some, not loads, but you can ally them in, so you can still get a good chunk in if you want. Adam's saying he's getting that sort of not analysis paralysis, but almost overwhelmed by having just too much choice from the new Stormcast book that's come out. Yeah, I believe there's 70 something units or something in that. The Space Marine issue, I guess.
Yes,
that's what people are getting. Yeah, it is a great pose, isn't it? On that Titan stomping on something. What are you having him stomping on?
Well, I'm going to have. I don't know if you remember. There is a model. I can't remember where it's from, but I know I've got it, and it's a flat goblin. And
it's
I can't remember what
the original plastic giant kit.
Right, so I've got that somewhere. So there's gonna be a flat goblin on the floor, because I want a few goblins riding him and all over him. So like one of them unfortunately fell off and got stuck underneath the foot. And also I looked at the rules for the rogue idol, and his attacks are mostly when he stomps on people. So I thought it made sense for the model to actually be stamping on him. Yeah,
You could
Looks
use some.
fantastic,
What are those? The ones that the fanatics like
yeah.
chain them
Yeah.
down onto it. That'd be cool.
yeah. So they're swinging around him and stuff.
And
So,
I think in that kit you get another squished goblin as well.
oh, nice.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
give you a,
So that's
give
what
you a
that's
couple.
going to be. Because I've got my orc, my Iron Jaws is about 1,000 points now, roughly, give or take. And then that's going to take it up to. I need to do that, and then I'm going to add my the wolves, the goblin riding rules, the Underworld's warband. So that
Yes,
it makes it 1,500, and then I'm probably just going to leave it there for now.
very cool.
Yeah.
I like it, man. So what's going on in the chat then? What's everyone working on there? And also, I thought with these hobby hangouts, it's a nice chance for if you've just got any random hobby questions that perhaps don't warrant a massive great Q&A, just like, oh, I'm looking for this paint, or what's your favorite glue, or whatever like that. Do feel free to fire it on. My hope is that as we get more confident and comfortable with this setup, again by doing it every once a month basically, and getting with the cameras, is hopefully we'll sort of relax into it. We'll start hobbying, perhaps not pay as much attention as we should, and a few things will slip out. So we might get a few nice little nuggets of info and sort of sneaky peeks and things like that. You never know. Let's have a look. Hopefully get some painted. Yes, Adam, get some painted during October. Good idea. And there are many tutorials on the Cult Paint channel, I believe, for Orc skin, and I still haven't decided what I like for Orc skin. I think that Commando is my favourite that I've done so far.
That was good.
But yeah, I'm not settled. But I've got to see that Cruel Boys army through. Like, I don't like it. I'm not happy with it, but I've got to see it through. So I've got that, and also because I've just spent a flipping fortune on that big bird and a few other units. But yeah, will get done. AOS Arabi stuff, nice. An archer and a fire elemental. Oh, I think I might have seen your archer test model. Actually, that's really, really cool. Benjamin asking, would you favour other pigments, AK or MIG, for instance, over Forge World powders? Personally, no. I think any of those brands are equivalent. There is definitely a thing with the quality of your powder. Like if you just get really shitty like dollar store pastels and just grind them up, they aren't going to be as nice. But I've got 4 or 5 different brands of the sort of your main hobby brands, their pigments, and I'd say they're all as good as each other. So all I would say is just go for the colour that you want, and go with it. James, working on the Assault Marines from the Imperium magazine. Yeah, this Imperium magazine, they've got this like subscription thing, however it works. Seems like an absolutely insane what do you call it, deal. Yeah, absolutely amazing. I saw some the other day when I nipped in to get the new White Dwarf because I wanted those wolf transfers. So
they do go out of stock pretty quick, so you have to be like on them.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure there's not that many hobby painters in my little town, so it's fair. My little Smiths, my little newsagents, there's usually a few left. So,
Sure, I've got the same thing in there's a co-op next to the gym that I go to, and it's always in stock there.
Yeah. I'm loving how many people are starting Orcs. This could be good, Matt. There could be plenty for October, you know.
There's money in it. Do it.
there's money in it. You don't get into this hobby to make money. So,
I don't know, £25 shiny voucher. Oh. Imagine the paint you can buy.
Yeah.
The single paint.
Have you bought any good paints recently? Either of you? Or chat, even?
Peridot Alchemy.
I've been...
Scale 75. It's a lovely colour.
Liking... Was it... Vallejo, the model metal colour stuff?
Metal colour series.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very, very nice stuff. Proper shiny.
Yeah. It is. It's wonderful in the airbrush, that stuff. And it's good with the brush, but I find it separates out very quickly.
Very quick. I think that's why they put that little metal ball in.
Yeah. But I find if I'm using it with my brush, I need to literally have one dot on like a normal palette. Like if I use it on my wet palette, it's game over. Like
Mm.
just all going everywhere. It's all metallics then, because I picked up the Dark Star metallic set a few weeks ago now. Treated myself. Wanted it for years. I used to just steal Andy's, but I got my own finally. And they're just the best metallics. They're my favourite metallics, I should say. For me, they are perfect. I'm so excited to do the next 3 or 4 projects simply so I can use the new colours with it. Bjorn, sorry, say Matt.
I was going to say, here's a question for the hobby chat. I kind of want to put that as a trailer onto the grot tank.
Yeah.
Would that look good?
Oh, dude, the old Orc stuff, they used to have trailers on the back of their war tracks and stuff. Absolutely.
The look, which camera is that on? No, I want that one. Because the back of it's like, I didn't really go to town on it much. I kind of ran out of ideas. And obviously I'd have to make a new plinth because it's too small. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool, mate.
Tractor trailer really type thing.
Absolutely.
Doing
a
something
nice way to use that massive kit you've just bought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing something I shouldn't ever have to do with Orcs. I'm having to read the instructions.
Oh dear. There's if you look, there was a World War II tank. I think it was called the Crocodile. It was like a flame tank that had a trailer on it. So that'd be a good reference if you wanted to have a look.
Yeah, do one of those old Kevin Downey type models where he took that dragon wagon into GD.
The Churchill crocodile, yeah. Someone else in the chat's just mentioned that, Rich.
That's
nice.
The badger.
What we've got there? Dark Slimy Grime. Yes, Slimy Grime Dark by Mig. Love it. Yeah, used it on the Cursed City stuff. It's cracking paint. Rob's putting hobgrots in a sandwich bag full of Agrax Earthshade. Shake and bake. Gets them done. Those little fuckers did work for me in the game the other week. Like that probably says more about my ability though as a general than it does about the unit. But yeah, they shanked a couple of orcs. Like the other big lads went in first and did most of the damage, and then the shanking boys come in afterwards and finished them off.
Nice.
James working on raptors for Badab, excellent. Such a fun, like non-typical marine scheme. Less so now with some of this Primaris stuff we see where they're all a bit sneaky, but before that there was so few marines we saw that were sort of theoretically sneaky. You know, sneaky as a 7-foot like diesel powered walking tank and
super soldier
can be, but you know, he's probably got extra lube on joints and things. Just whispers a lot. And Aeronautica, yes. Also, given the resounding success that the Aeronautica tutorial was on YouTube, I think still our least watched video. I still love doing it, as did one other bloke enjoyed watching it. So I am going to finish that for him and me. But I'm loving these new little marine planes we've got coming out very soon. Cannot wait to paint some of those. And the mini Thunderhawk. Can't be long now. Can't be long. It's out by the next show. Expect them on little cotton and drawing pins from the ceiling in here. I
mean, technically it is a plastic Thunderhawk. They've got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, this is very true.
It's like Titanicus, man. Like, I'd love to buy a big resin Thunderhawk or even plastic one that's, 28, 32 mil scale. But that's going to take me frigging ages to paint. Whereas I can get one of those mini ones done or a Titan done in a week or two, and it's on the shelf.
I do that whenever I go into. I do that whenever I go into the Forge World shop at Warhammer World. I'm just like, I get one of those. What's that massive one? The Marine, not the Thunderhawk, the bigger one, the Stormbird. Yeah, I think, that'd be so cool.
Amazing scenery piece.
I know, but it would just sit in a box. It's just too big.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. What's Bobby saying in the chat? He's enjoying painting his Sisters of Battle Army. Planning on adding some green stuff to them after this weekend's Masterclass with Barry Watkins. Nice, Bobby. Yeah, so we're hosting Baz this coming weekend at Firestorm Games in Cardiff. I think our fastest selling class ever, possibly that one. Very, very jealous. I'll be there for a couple of hours, but I wish I could make the whole weekend. Yeah, it's, I can't wait to see what people come away from that class with, and I will make sure we get Baz back for a few more next year for sure. It's been actually, I suppose, yeah, that's worth saying. We did our first class since COVID began.
Nice.
I did an introduction to airbrushing last Thursday. Yeah, it was just so lovely to be back teaching, you know, in the flesh. Do you know what? Having done the tutorials for a year or so on YouTube and Patreon, and done a bit of private tuition, albeit online, the spiel was all there. Sort of, and if anything, I think it was better. Sort of be able to be a bit more concise, a bit more, you know, deliberate with what I was saying for things. But it was just so nice to be able to give immediate feedback to questions, you know, like sort problems easily without having to say, okay, send me a video of this, or what do you mean by that? Like, and just little like intro to airbrushing is always great fun, because it's usually a 50-50 mix with people on that class of people that have never airbrushed and don't own one. So they come and use my kit, our kit. We've got a bunch of ones people to use, or they're people who've bought an airbrush, clogged it up a couple of times, thrown it in the box, and thought that was a waste of a couple £100.
Yeah,
it's so lovely to see sort of people at the end of that pretty intense evening class, like going away going, yes, I can do this. I can go and watch tutorials. I can go and watch, you know, read videos, go to read articles, go to classes and stuff. It's it's pretty rad, man. It's pretty rad. So yeah, and then coming thick and fast now over the next sort of 6 weeks or so. Got a bunch more classes coming up. Nice. Right, what else is going on? Yeah, mini fire raptors. Oh, James, it's gonna be so good, mate. It's gonna be so. They're also not that small. Like I freaked out about 3-4 months ago. I suddenly got really scared that they were going to stop doing Aeronautica, and I thought I'm going to have to do it. So I bought one of each of the Imperial plane boxes just in case, with no plan to really when the fuck I was going to paint them. But they turned up, and I've got them out of their boxes to put them in another box basically and put them away. But they're big. Like they're not these diddy little. I thought they were going to be like Micro Machines, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah, I remember those.
Kids toy. But they're big old models. Like they're really fun to paint.
What comparatively to what size are they like? What are they looking at?
So, gosh, I would say give me a sec, but my room is a bit of a mess with all Kickstarter stuff at the minute. And there's ones I can't. Yeah, so I would say your Arvus lighter, right? Which was, albeit it's a 4-jaw one, but that's a tiny little like 5-10 man human transport, which you'd imagine would be teeny tiny, right? Is probably about the size of the Terminator. Do you know what? You've asked. I'm going to get them, Rich. That's the whole fucking point of this type of show. So have a natter while I go and find some.
It is funny how, like, if you see some, there's that fear that it's going to go away and they're not going to make it anymore. So just buy it and put it on a shelf. I did that with a Dwarf Army because I know Cities of Sigmar is still a thing, but I was convinced that the dwarfs would disappear one day and they'd never come back. Like, not the steampunk dwarfs on their floating ships, like your classic big bearded shields and axes style dwarfs. And I was so I bought an entire dwarf army that is now sitting in a box, so that when I inevitably want to do it at some point, I can just grab it and get on with it.
That impulse buy.
Very true. Very true. I mean, I've been wanting to do them for such a long time. Like, it's one of those armies I started I liked so much when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That I thought, you know what, one day I will do these. So I thought I'd just bite the bullet and get it. I'm sure I'll get around to it at some point, like all the other armies I've started.
Okay.
Lol.
What a miss.
I was just saying how I did what, you said you bought all the aeronautical stuff. I've done the same thing a few months ago with all the dwarf stuff.
Oh yeah. I was considering doing that very thing today, Rich.
Great.
I love. Do you want to paint those dwarves one day? Yeah.
Yeah, the kids are so nice as well. I'd forgotten how nice they were.
So I'm going to switch to the hobby cam now, so hopefully the audio doesn't go to shit.
No, I fixed that.
Here is, so the Marauder is probably the biggest plane other than one of the Orc ones that they do. But that's a Terminator, quite a big Terminator as well next to it. But as I was saying, even the little Forge World Harvest Lighters are, they're a good size. So yeah, these teeny tiny planes are not that teeny tiny. But the nice thing is that makes them a really enjoyable painting project. Like I'm really looking forward to that. Just creating a little Imperial Navy, probably with no intentions other than sticking them in the cabinet next to the Titans and looking cool and waiting for the day Epic comes out.
Nothing wrong with that though.
I managed to get, before they sold out, I managed to get one of the Forge World Airfield Titanicus tiles. So I need a few for that. And I've just picked up a 3D printer and I've signed up to Grimdark Terrain, which does loads of amazing sort of 8-10 mil sci-fi terrain and stuff. So there's some nice little airfields for that to include them with.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. I've always liked like World War II planes and stuff, but I've never really known anything about World War II history or anything like that. So, and a lot of the Imperial planes are riffs on those World War II planes. So it's it's pretty cool, man. Right, I've been missing loads of questions while I've been mucking around trying to get these tiny planes out. I noticed 2 in there that would like legit questions as well, so I will try and find them. So you're going to commit to getting that Rogue Idol done then, Rich? Yeah.
Going to do my best. It's weird because I'm juggling different projects at the moment, obviously, because it's me. I've been playing AOS, but like the hobby group that I kind of interact with the most is all about 40k at the moment. Now, annoyingly, I've got a very nicely painted 1,000-point Blood Angel army for 40k. But everyone that I'm playing or will be playing against is got Marines of some sort.
Well, paint the baddies.
Exactly. So we've already got a Blood Angels player. We've got a Blood Angels player. We've also got a Silver Skulls player, a Nurgle player, and then Andy's doing some Sons of Horus stuff. So I was like, well, I've not got a lot of time to do it. So I thought, bugger it, I'm going to do the world's quickest painted Necron army. They're basically just black and glowy green.
Love it.
But it's, I've done a squad of 10 warriors I did in an hour and 40 minutes.
Pretty good going.
That'll do. That's how you get armies done. And I bet it looks rad on the board.
Oh, yeah, from 2 feet away. It's just black. There was a piece of artwork, a really old piece of artwork, and then the Necron was literally, the whole thing was just black. And his gun was glowing green, and that was it. I was like, you know what, that's the one. So I've done that. Powdery bases, it is the world's fastest painted army, but like you said, it's there to play with. So I just want to smash out a horde army that's evil, so I can play against my mates who are all good guys.
I think I'm certainly coming around to that idea of now I've got a gaming group that are all really good people that I want to hang out with. It's just, do you know what? Whatever the fuck people want to play, let's play it. Because that's where you get the fun.
One of everything.
Right? It's that.
Yeah, I want one of everything.
That passion and that thing. That's the thing to play. So I found a couple of the questions. I've just lost them again now. Said that. Stepan's asked, and you're gonna have to, if you're still in the chat, Stepan, let me know whether you mean your hairy brush or your airbrush. What do you think works best as a flow improver for brushes? I'm using glaze medium, but I'm not a fan of the extra drying time. So for airbrushing, I use the proprietary thinner for the paint, so Tamiya for Tamiyas or one of the other brands for the other brands usually, and that tends to have a mixture of things like Flow Aid and stuff in it, which helps. I do occasionally use Flow Improver with some metallics. If you sometimes get this beading effect on your model when you spray them. Actually, those metal color series, I get it with sometimes, and I'll find a drop or so of Flow Improver, and that's just Liquitex Flow Improver, and I've had that bottle for 10 plus years, and it's like still 90% full. If you're on about a flow improver for your hairy brushes, for me, it's just water's what I've learned to dilute paint with and do it. Like very occasionally in the summer months, I'll use a drop of either drying retarder or glaze medium, or matte medium, which is effectively Lamian medium and stuff. Like I'll use that very occasionally just to prolong the drying time. But yeah, so see what you're on about with that one, Stefan, if you're still in the chat. What about you, Rich?
Exactly the same, mate. I use, like you said, Tamiya thinner with Tamiya paints. I just use Vallejo airbrush thinner with my regular airbrushing paints. I go through more Lehman medium than I go through like cups of tea because I use it for everything. I use a lot of it when I thin down washes. So I tend to find the washes and contrast paints from GW just have got too much and you get tide marks and it's just a bit full on. And I use a lot of washes. So every wash I make, I use 50-50 Lehman medium with it. I find that you lose the tide marks and it's just a lot more subtle. So you can build the color up rather than just banging it on and you're getting like, it ruins your color.
Yeah.
And then, a hairy brush, water. I've always just used water. I don't think I use anything else really. I use water even with powders and stuff just because I find it's quicker to dry. But yeah, that's about it.
Anything from you, Matt? Anything you enjoy?
Pretty much the same. Vallejo thinner for airbrush stuff. I don't think I've ever used Lamia medium in my life. And just normal paints, just plain water. Just keep the water clean and then rinse out every now and then you don't really have many issues.
Yeah.
Don't drink it if it's got loads of paint in it.
Or little sea people living in it, like mine has at the moment.
Yeah, mine has as well.
Seaweed, I don't know where that's come from. Sorry, Matt, you said?
I was just going to say, I haven't used my wet palette in a while and I forgot I left a piece of nastiness in there and you've got all that
yeah,
organic...
that's going in the bin. Black mold. Get it in the bin, mate. I'll send you another one. Doesn't matter, I'll send you one. Get rid of that, mate. You don't need to be breathing that rubbish in.
What's it? The Vallejo paints have that organic stuff in or whatever. And
maybe that's where the little... Honestly, it looks like you're diving off the fucking north coast. If you look into my water pot, it's bizarre whatever's in there.
Come back into the office after a week and the water pot has turned into a civilization and they've just discovered the Industrial Revolution sort of thing.
Stefan's just saying it was with his hairy brush. So I think all of us just used water and got used to using water. But you're going to hear people say, if you use Lamian medium, which again is just acrylic matte medium. So if you use any mediums like that, or glaze medium or whatever, people call this cheating. It's not. Whatever makes it more fun for you and how you can get the results you want, go and use that stuff. So just because we're saying we use water, that's because that's how we've learnt. But there's certainly nothing wrong with using the variety of other mediums that you've got out there.
Explore it a little bit.
Yeah, have a laugh with it. Have we got any thoughts on some of the Warhammer Plus paint teaching tips? I haven't actually watched. Have I watched any of the Warhammer Plus painting videos yet? Don't think I have yet. I think it's a great idea. I really do. And Louise, who they've got doing the tutorials, is a phenomenal painter. I mean, we featured her account on here a number of times. We're big fans of her painting. So I haven't watched the tutorials yet, but I hope that you're getting to see perhaps how she approaches painting things, because that would be rad. I haven't.
They're pretty good.
Honestly, I've not had time to sit and watch anything over the last couple of weeks, so I will be teeing them up for sure.
I watched they did the metallic one on a Stormcast or something the other week. I think, but yeah, it was pretty good. It was accessible.
Yeah, nice. That's it. I think it's not really. I suppose it's a bit to do with painting because there's the painting tips on there, right? But $5 a month or whatever it is for some cartoons, some old white dwarfs.
It's worth it just for the white dwarf
tutorials. Yeah, I'm all over that. More stuff like that, I bet. It's basically GW Patreon, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously
I've been
sign up to ours first, and then go and do.
I've been really enjoying the battle reports on there as well.
Oh yeah.
So as someone who's been playing a bit of AOS and is just getting into 40k, the battle reports that I did on there are really great, and it's really helped me learn how to play. So for me, it was worth it just for that, to be honest. But I do like Louise's painting things as well. They're cool.
Yeah, nice, man. Someone's asked. I've fucking lost it again because the chat keeps moving. But somebody asked about can we recommend any enamel washes that give a similar finish to burnt umber oil wash? So my favourite brand at the moment for that type of thing is Ammo by Mig. I just really like their stuff. I really like them as a company. And I like their products. I did a video ages ago on using enamels, oils, and acrylics to do pin washing with, and the different sort of way you work with them, but also the fact that they do all have a different finish. So for me, I wouldn't use an enamel instead of an oil, or an oil instead of enamel to achieve the same thing. If that made sense, I'd be using the one that I wanted to get that effect from. So, and I will frequently on a model use both oil and enamel in different capacities. So yeah, Ammo by Mig's my fave. About you, Rich, anything?
What have I been using lately? I use AK Interactive a lot. I've been really enjoying their enamel wash for wood lately. Not using it for wood, but using it for just washes. I think it's been really good. Their engine oil's a really good one. Very glossy, adheres really well. But yeah, I agree. Like oils, I'll use oils if I want to that sort of color from a specific oil paint. Then I will just use that one. But I agree, I do use a bit of both. I've been using a lot more enamels lately, just for ease of use. Like I do like using oils, but I feel like you kind of have to gear up for a good session where you can do lots of oils and get it all prepared and have everything ready. Whereas I like the fact that the enamel pot, you can just crack the lid off
and go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike in the chat saying Ammo by Mig streaking rust gives a very nice alternative to burnt umber. So there you go. Whoever asked that question, I'm really sorry I've lost your question. This is the first time I've looked at the chat so much on one of these shows, so forgive me for that. Here we go. David asked it, so there we go. And that's answered there. And somebody asked something about contrast. Here we go, Dan. So I really struggle with how to judge the level of contrast required with highlighting, e.g. edge highlighting Space Marines. Too cautious, maybe. Any tips? Yeah, go bright. It's something Andy's, I know, worked on his own stuff over the last few years. He didn't feel he was pushing the brightest points bright enough. And I think a mantra that we often talk about in classes and stuff is it's usually a hell of a lot easier to dull something back down or tidy up an edge highlight that's got too big than it is to brighten things up later on down the line. So that would just do you know what, we've said it before on painting ones, like go too far. It's so much easier if people come to you for tuition or painting tips. It's so much easier to say to someone, okay, dial that back 10%, or rather than being, oh, you need to give more this, more that, more this, if it's there already and we can trim it, that's the dream. That's what you want with it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so sorry, go on, Matt, you go.
No, you go first.
I think I agree. I think explore a little bit, try different things out, see what you think works for you. I think depending on what you want from the model, that would depend on the amount of contrast that you're putting in. So like if I'm doing something really grim dark, I don't worry about it too much because it's speedy and it's dark and there's lots of different layers of paint and stuff. But if I'm specifically trying to make something quite high contrast, always go a little bit further than you think. And especially if you're doing it, say for instance, you're airbrushing it, to start with, it's going to look a bit over the top because you've got no other elements that are involved on the model yet. So one of the things that I found is I would airbrush, say, a Marine or a Marine Walker or something, and I think, God, I've gone way too far with this contrast. Put all the other elements in, oils, all those different things, and that would knock it back. And then I'd think, oh, I actually kind of wish I put a little bit more on. So I'd always go a bit further, knowing that all the other elements I add to it will knock it back a little bit.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, you can always knock it back. I tend to, I probably don't take the right approach. I I get to a point and then I add all the other elements, and then I go, it needs more, and I just keep adding it until I get to where I want it to be. It's probably not the right way to do it, but it kind of works for me.
Yeah, it's certainly something I'm gonna work on my next few projects. Is and I don't think we're actually going to have much of a chat about that, just seeing the time. But I would like to get a little bit more contrast between my lightest points and my darkest points for sure on the next few projects. Manzak's just asked with regards to these Arabi models that he's painting. This is probably going to upset every tech person out there, but I'm just going to switch to this camera because it's easier to show you. These are these amazing Arabi Arches that Manzak Miniatures has been working on, and you've asked something about the trim. And I think the thing is, for me, they do look better with trim. It's whether or not is that trim going to be easier just to paint on a little bit of NMM gold trim or something, which really isn't as difficult as it sounds, considering it's such a small area. For me, I'd either go all out like this one you've done on the right here, or I'd be inclined just to leave it off completely. This side to me looks a bit too elfy, whereas I feel like this is a little bit different, and the nice plain finish looks quite nice as well. So yeah, great account, great hobbyist. Go and check it out if you get a chance. Right, let's see if there's any more questions, and then we can probably look at wrapping things up, chaps. Test User 1. It's a catchy title. Is it true that the more expensive airbrushes are useful for detailed work, mostly where the difference is visible, and that for larger areas to paint, the lower price airbrushes would be sufficient? We probably haven't got time for the full answer I'd like to give on this one. The difference between a crap, very cheap airbrush and a £200 or so airbrush, which really is the most expensive you need to go for our hobby and what we do with it, it's going to be to do with the quality of the parts so that they're made from, and the quality of the machining of those parts. They both fundamentally do exactly the same job. They fire air, and there's a metal tube in the middle with a needle that you can fire liquid out of. Personally, I think it's a false economy, sort of getting an okay brush to learn on and do your basic work with, and then have a good brush, as it were, to do your fancy stuff with. For me, like, it's the best quality brush you can afford, use it for everything, and maintain it, and you'll be good to go, sort of forever on it. But there's way more to that question, but that's what I would say on that. I do not buy into that idea of a really expensive brush just for detail work and a crap brush for varnishing or whatever. It's nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
I do like to use a different brush for like varnish and I like the AK Interactive like chipping mediums, because they do tend to gunk up your brush very quickly, and you do have to dismantle that whole thing and clean it. And sometimes I can't be bothered, so I just leave it and then just crank up the PSI.
Again, see, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say, right, so you blow it out, you put some isopropyl in there, you take your needle out, cotton bud, done. You're done within less than a minute. You're done. It's clean. It's good to go. It's just metal, right? It's just metal. There's not. It can't do. If you leave it overnight, you're going to ruin it. But don't get me on that whatever it's called, not bandwagon, soapbox. I come over to Matt's house and throw out his crap airbrush.
Hey, it's a cult airbrush. You can't throw it out.
So this is it. Just I use my, and yes, obviously I got a free one, but I have bought an Infinity before as well. That's a £200 airbrush that I use to varnish, to paint, to whatever in, and you just clean it. Just get used to cleaning it. We've done videos on cleaning it. Don't buy into the mythology that it's just really difficult. All right, a lot of that stems from people buying shit airbrushes made of crappy plastic and materials that disintegrate when you put water in them.
I think that's the thing. Like the harder brushes, there's 10 parts at most, probably less. Yeah. It's really not difficult to take the thing apart. Just chuck the whole thing in isopropyl, job done. Other than the valve, of course, take that off.
Yeah, but even then, you know, there's a lot of the higher one of the things you're paying for with the higher end airbrushes is the various seals that are in them. The difference between them being like an easily perishable rubber or a much stronger PTFE material. But yeah, I don't want this to become an airbrush thing. So yeah, trim, good recipe for worn leather with a hairy brush. There's millions on various well, there's not millions. There's quite a few on different tutorials. Beyond, totally depends on the color you want. But I think we paint leather on most things that we put up there. When making an oil wash, is there a certain ratio of Sansador or mineral spirits thinners to paint that you use? Always seem to get too thick or too thin. No ratio at all. It all depends on what I want from the wash. You can have a thick wash, you can have a thin wash. All I would say is start off too thick and then add more thinner, because otherwise you're going to end up with like a bucket of wash, and all you need it for is for like 2 little panels or whatever like that. But one thing I do often see is people over thinning their oil washes, and oil paint, just like any other paint, it'll get to a point when you thin it where it will split and it becomes useless. Another reason why it's good to buy a better quality oil paint, because it won't split so easily.
Very true.
Don't use Vallejo airbrush thinner on oil paints. Worst idea. I've tried it. Top it just there's something about it just separates the oil just too much. Use the Sansador stuff.
Mike's saying there, cheaper brush for enamels because the spirits ruin rubber washers and valves. Yeah, that's fair to say. Like the better quality brushes, as I said a minute ago, you'll have the seals that can deal with the solvent bases that are in some paints. But if you're just planning on only ever airbrushing with, do you know what? No, if you're planning on airbrushing, get a Harder and Steenbeck Evolution. it's amazing. It's a perfect brush. All right, it's just great. Get a card.
There's no need for anything else.
It's pretty, but there really isn't. You know, all the gear. If you love a bit of flash, get the Infinity because it's the best looking brush out there. But anyway, thinking of investing in some Scale 75 paints. I primarily use Vallejo model color. Is there any benefit or major difference between the two brands other than Scale just being super matte? I mean, the very matte finish to them is their thing. That's their USP. And it's certainly worth saying that their Scale color range is very different to their Fantasy Games range. Their Fantasy Games range doesn't have a matte finish at all. It's very, very highly saturated colors, lovely for glazing with, awful for base coating with on the whole. What I would say is, I mean, I use quite a few Scale 75 paints. I would never consider base coating with them. I find that I would use a Vallejo model color or a Games Workshop base paint or a monument paint, something like that as my base paint, and then I'll use Scale over it, or I'll mix them together. But I think it's worth saying as well with the Scale 75 paints, I wouldn't consider as user friendly. I think we've said that beginner friendly. I was we've sort of spoken about that in the past. But that doesn't mean don't give them a try. But also, if it's just the fact that they have a matte finish and that's what you like about them, you can always just add some like matte varnish into your paint that you already have and you like that color. There's nothing, you can always, if you just want to try that. But they're I'd say pick up I quite like their browns. There's some nice browns in there if you want to play around with leather and stuff. So maybe they'd be a nice one to pick up. And I also really like their metallics, although obviously they don't have a matte finish and they behave differently to all the others. But I do enjoy the Scale metallics. So Rich, you said you picked up Peridot Alchemy earlier, didn't you? So
yes,
they're really nice colours. So we often say on classes like there's nearly every brand of paint has some really good paints in it and some really shit paints within it. So just sort of don't limit yourself necessarily to one brand because you're missing out. Try some stuff, but also there's just because one person thinks it's amazing doesn't necessarily mean you'll enjoy using.
We disagree and argue on different paints on a daily basis almost, because there's things that we just like because it's a benefit to the way that we paint, and whatever we were doing that day, it just happened to benefit it. It's just trial and error mostly. We think of many paints we've tried over the years and liked some and disliked others, that you just sort of try loads and then you kind of bring them into your inner circle of paints almost and go, right, I like this one, I'm going to use it regularly, and it becomes like a staple.
That's a perfect segue, and I think we'll finish up on this question, close the show out. But Bjorn's asking, if we were stuck on a desert island, I'm assuming not together, because then we could have 9 paints. So let's say we're on separate desert islands and we've got miniatures and whatnot, and we could only bring 3 different paints. What would you bring? Come on, quick fire. Don't overthink it. Rich.
I would bring a black, a white, and a Sotek green.
Black, white, Sotek green. In a nutshell, why?
Black and white because you just got options, I think. And it's also, you can kind of paint anything with a bit of black and a bit of white. And Sotek green because it's my favourite paint and it should go on everything.
Nice one. Good answer. Cheers, Mike. Cheers, RG. Thanks, guys. What about you, Matt?
I have a very similar answer. I was going to say black, white, and Mephiston red.
Oh, very nice.
Even though I can't see red.
Yeah. What colour's your grot tank, Matt?
Red.
Yeah. Looking forward to October. It's going to be...
Evil Suns. It's always got to be Evil Suns.
Nice. I would go Vallejo model colour black, Vallejo model colour white. No, fuck it. We've got black and white. They're boring. What would I have? I love Baraknar Burgundy. I think it's an amazing colour. I would take Dark Star Black and Bronze because it's an incredible colour. And I would take model colour black, and then I'd just paint everything super grimdark. And it'd be great. But no, three's mean. You need at least 20. What you need is a few hundred that you use 10% of. And then fewer. But no, I hope that's super quick, Rich. Blood Angels, orange or pink for the highlights?
Orange.
Yeah, orange, yeah.
Okay, no, fair enough. Andy, I know, is a fan of the going into the pink rather than into the orange with it. I think is both look fantastic. But no, that was tons of fun. I think we'll wrap it up there, guys. It's been going a fair old while. Thanks ever so much, chat, for joining us and feeding us some good questions. I hope you've enjoyed this format, and let us know if it's something you want us to do. It's like I said, we're planning on doing it. It's sort of one of these once a month, and with our work situations changing, it may be that we don't have a regular night anymore that we do the recordings. We may even look at starting to do the odd, say, Saturday morning show and things like that. But what we'll try and do in the future is post a few days in advance about when we're going to film and stuff, just to let people know, because it is a hell of a lot more fun when the chat's in there and giving us things to do. But Rich, Matt, thanks ever so much. I think it worked pretty well, man. And have you managed to get anything done each? Rich, you got anything done?
Yeah, I've been painting the helmet of a Wraith Knight. No, Wraith Lord, sorry.
Wraith Lord, lovely, classic kit. What about you, Matt? Finished that tank?
Oh, God, no, it's going to be forever. I have been the laziest. I've only just cut out a single grot.
Good man.
And taken the mould lines off.
That's a ton more than I've done. I've written English, strippy trousers, audio and second cam. That's been the extent of my hobby this evening. Stripy trousers. That'll be, I'll go to sleep tonight thinking about stripy trousers and what I can paint them on. But thanks again, chat. Thanks ever so much if you're watching the show back. Again, let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like us to cover in the future. If you do need to get hold of us, you've got all the usual things that I spoke about earlier: Instagram, Twitter, website, email, all the rest of it. We massively appreciate all the support. So from me, from Matt, from Rich, thanks ever so much. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.